California to Miami isn't a hard move, and that's exactly what makes it easy to get wrong. You're already in a car culture, you already sit in traffic, and you already live outside. The cultural presence is already part of your week. Depends on where in California, but it's there. So families treat this like the simplest version of a big move. Same life, better tax picture. And for 80% of the daily experience, that's accurate, but most, it's doing some heavy lifting in that sentence. And that's what this video is all about. Here's what makes this move different from a family moving from, say, New York or Chicago. When a New York family moves to Miami, almost everything changes. The climate, the car dependency, the density, the daily rhythm. It's a full reset. They know that going in and they prepare for it. California families have the opposite situation. So much of the daily infrastructure is already familiar that the move doesn't feel like a leap. The car culture, you've been living it. The 405 at 5 p.m. or the 101 through the valley. You know what that looks like. Outdoor lifestyle, you already have it. And let's be clear, this overlap applies more to Southern California than it does the Bay Area. If you're coming from San Francisco, the climate adjustment alone puts you closer to a New York family than an LA family. And the financial case is usually strong. That 3-point top rate going to 0 is real money. Companies are relocating operations here in Miami. Tech, finance, professional services. There's a professional pool that didn't exist 5 years ago. So the financial case is real, and the lifestyle overlap makes that adjustment feel almost optional. That's where the blind spots start to open up. When 80% of the transition feels familiar, you stop examining the other 20%. And that 20% is where the real adjustment actually lives, precisely because you weren't watching for it. And that's exactly what I help families think through before they ever commit. Which parts actually transfer and which ones honestly don't. And look, I'm not here to talk anyone out of this. Most of the time, the move makes sense. But the ones who land well are the ones who respected the gaps before they ever showed up. And hey, if we haven't met, my name is Roque Castro. I work with families relocating to Miami and buying homes throughout the city's family neighborhoods. If you're working through this and want to talk it through, my contact info is down in the description below. No pitch, just a real and honest conversation. Let's talk about where that 80% overlap starts to break down. The assumption I hear most from California families is some version of, this is basically the same lifestyle, just without the state income tax. And I get why it feels that way. There's a genuine overlap, but there are 3 specific places where the overlap hides a real gap. The climate here is not equivalent. You know warm weather, you don't know this warm weather. 80 degrees in LA and 80 degrees in Miami are 2 completely different experiences. California gives you dry heat, ocean breeze, and evenings that actually cool down. Miami gives you subtropical humidity, the kind where you walk outside in August and your sunglasses fog up before you ever reach the car. But here's the part California families don't expect. The other 8 months, October through May in Miami, is generally one of the best stretches of weather anywhere in the country. The mornings are 70 degrees with blue sky, no humidity, and you have dinner outside almost every night. The weekends practically design themselves. Your kids are in the pool after school in January, and that's the trade. 4 months of real summer heat for 8 months of the outdoor life that drew you to California in the first place, except paying a fraction of that cost. And second, the physical landscape. California gives you mountains visible from your neighborhood, a coastline that changes every 50 miles, elevation, desert 2 hours east, redwoods to the north. Miami, it's flat, sea level and tropical. The physical backdrop of your daily life is genuinely different. But what Miami gives you instead is water, Biscayne Bay, the Everglades visible from the western edge of the city, a coastline that lives differently, warmer, calmer, closer. You adjust fastest when you stop trying to replace what you had and you replace the mountain with the water and find something you didn't expect to actually love. And third, this is worth asking honestly. Are you moving toward Miami or are you going away from California? Because the push factor, they're real. Wildfire seasons getting longer, insurance getting harder to secure, state policy shifting in ways some families disagree with, companies packing up and leaving. Those are all legitimate reasons to evaluate other options, but they're exit reasons, not arrival reasons. The ones who build a life here can tell you specifically what they're moving toward, not just better taxes, what their Tuesday looks like, what their kid's Saturday looks like, what fills the months ahead. So here's a more useful way to evaluate this. Stop asking whether the financial case works, because for most California families at this income level, it does. That part is usually settled before anyone ever reaches out. What I spend most of my time on is the question nobody asked before they ever started packing. So start asking, what does my regular Tuesday look like in Miami, and how is it different from my regular Tuesday in California? Not better or worse, different, and specifically different in ways you just haven't experienced. The commute won't surprise you. The grocery run won't surprise you. The August humidity when you step outside at 7:30 in the morning for school drop-off, that's when the surprise hits. The property tax bill without Prop 13, that's the surprise. The flat horizon where the mountain used to be, that's the one that either feels like freedom or feels like something's actually missing. But here's what most California families don't hear enough of. The things Miami delivers that California can't. The proximity to everything. Miami's family corridor, Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, Pinecrest, Palmetto Bay. You're within 20 minutes of restaurants, waterfront, parks, and downtown in a way that most California suburbs just can't match. The social rhythm here, it's different. More accessible, more outdoor, more spontaneous, especially from October through May. And the value your dollar produces in real estate compared to what you're looking at in LA or the Bay Area is a genuine step up in quality of life. Every family I've seen handle this well had honest answers to those questions before they ever committed. But they also let themselves see what Miami actually offers, not just what it costs. So here are 4 things worth working through before ever setting a move date. First, spend some real time in humidity. A February visit doesn't count. That's the easy version of this city. Come in July or August and spend a week. See what the outdoor schedule actually looks like when the heat index is above 100 and the afternoon storms roll in at 3:30. The ones who adjusted fastest aren't the ones who just tolerated it. They knew exactly what they were getting into and they built their routine around it. Early mornings outside, afternoons inside or at the pool, evenings back out. It's a rhythm, and once you learn it, the summer becomes manageable, just not the way California was. And second, run the full carrying cost number. Tax savings of 13.3% on a high household, that's significant, but model what the home actually costs to own every month. Property tax without Prop 13, homeowners insurance with wind and flood coverage, the maintenance premium that comes with a subtropical coastal climate, mold prevention, AC running 12 months out of the year, shorter replacement cycles on roofing and exterior systems. The tax savings are real. They're just not as large as the income tax line suggests once you build the full picture. Because you're used to expensive real estate. You're not naive about costs, but the composition here is a little different. And third, take the professional pool seriously. This is the one area where the case for Miami has gotten genuinely stronger. Companies are relocating operations right here. Tech, finance, professional services. The business ecosystem is growing in a way that gives California families more than just a tax play. There's a real professional opportunity case that didn't exist 5 years ago. If your industry is part of that migration, the move carries a different kind of momentum. You're not just leaving California, you're somewhere that's actively building what you do. And the fourth one, test the lifestyle before the real estate. Drive the residential neighborhoods on a weekday morning. Have dinner in Coconut Grove on a Thursday evening. Walk through Pinecrest on a Saturday and see what the neighborhood pace actually feels like. Go to Coral Gables. Notice the architecture, the consistency, the canopy, the way the neighborhood was designed to feel a certain way and still does. You're evaluating a life, not a listing. Do that first. Test the daily experience before you ever look at a house. That's what puts you in the right place. And I'm curious, of these 4, which one surprised you? Drop it in the comments below. I read everything and I'll respond directly. And I want to take a second and talk to you about a client I've been speaking with the past few weeks. They made the trip last summer. It's a dual income family with 2 kids. They did something I don't see often enough. They came out for 10 days in late July before making any decisions. Not a house hunting trip, but a life testing trip. They drove the commute routes during rush hour. They spent weekday afternoons outside. They ran the estimates of the full carrying costs with their CPA before they ever looked at a listing. They've narrowed down their search and plan on making the move later this year. That 10-day trip didn't just help them evaluate neighborhoods, it helped them decide whether or not the move was actually worth making in the first place. So I'm gonna give you 3 profiles worth being honest about. If California's physical landscape is genuinely load-bearing for you, pay attention to this one. The mountains, the coastline variety, the feeling of terrain under your daily life. If that's the part of what makes a place feel like home to you, not a preference, but an actual need, Miami is a different physical experience entirely, and that's obviously not going to change. If the entire case is financial and you don't have a specific picture of what daily life actually looks like here, that's worth sitting with. The savings are real, but savings alone don't build a life somewhere. If you've got a clear picture of why you're leaving and no picture of what Tuesday looks like when you actually get here, that's the move I worry about the most. If you haven't spent time here in the summer, you really haven't evaluated the full picture. The February visit sells a version of this city that exists for 8 months. The other 4 are genuinely different. And let me be real, California families have the most overlap with Miami of almost any origin market. That's genuinely in your favor. But it's also the risk. The overlap makes you stop looking, and the ones who build a life they're actually happy with, they respected that 20% and planned for it before they ever committed. But they also let themselves see what Miami actually gives back. And for most families, that picture is better than they expect. And look, if any of this is where you are right now, weighing it, running the numbers, trying to figure out if the move actually makes sense for your family, I'm easy to reach. I've left my contact information down in the description below. No pitch, just an honest conversation about what this move actually looks like. And thank you for watching. See you next time.